lovely people. Esther here with a little bit of a different filming setup. It might, in fact, it might be a little bit weird, a little bit wide angle. I'm sort of playing with my iPad in a different way and in a different part of my house. Normally when I'm filming for you guys, I'm sitting in my shrine room, which I love. It's where I work with my tarot. It's where I meditate. It's, you know, where I spend the bulk of my time when I'm at home. And, but it, you know, it's hard to shuffle cards when you're sitting on the floor cross-legged. So it's kind of, whoops, she says as she drops all the cards anyway. It's kind of nice to have a table to allow myself to do a good riffle and a good bridge. You know, a gal loves, or this gal at any rate, loves a good bridge, right? Cardstock on this deck is really splendid. This is the indie version of MJ Culinane's Crow Tarot, and I adore it. So this is the deck I've been carrying with me all week. I've been reading from. And, you know, we're here toward the end of week 2 of June 2022. So I'm in the middle of my hashtag Spread June Mindful Tarot Challenge, where we're trying to think about how spreads work and really foregrounding what we know about number from the tarot, what the tarot is already teaching us in so many ways about number. And one of the things that the tarot relentlessly teaches us is about duality and dichotomy. I mean, the tarot brings with it this kind of relentless Western binarism where there's always an up term and a down term. You know, there's white and there's black. There's God and there's the devil. There's man and there's woman. There's spirit and there's flesh, right? These are the dualisms, the binaries that kind of undergird Western metaphysics, Western thinking, Western culture, right? And, you know, they're kind of embedded in everything. Now, probably given our biological symmetry, probably we are just doomed to being beings that see the world in yeses and nos, in divided terms. In fact, you know, I've said this many, many times before, but the suit of swords as the suit of air, as the suit of mind and thought. Some people talk about it as the suit of communication. I think that communication is broader than what any one of the minor arcana carry. But the swords are really the suit of how our mind works, which is to cut things in half, right? Tarot is swordsy in so many ways. Structure is swordsy. The Emperor, which, you know, 2 times 2, the 4-ness of the Emperor, is foundationally how structure emerges. You get 2 pairs of 2. You get your X and your Y axis. This is the structure at the heart of the mandala of the world. This is the foundation of how foundation works. So this is how our minds work, how our world works. That is something that the tarot teaches us about in so many ways. From the very start of the major arcana, with its distinction between the one of the magician, and think here in terms of the Coleman Smith imagery of the magician who's as above, so below, right? That first person, that kind of phallic, strong, swordsy first person assertion, that number one, that I for the magician, who's all about heaven and earth, right? And creating a unity of those divided entities. So the tarot from the very start talks about there's one, and that one is a unity of division. That's what the tarot teaches us. It teaches us that about ones, and it teaches us that about twos. It's teaching us about unity as that which comes out of the separation of duality. So if we're thinking about 2-card spreads, right? We're thinking about what the tarot teaches us about duality and how that informs our life. So I started the week with what I was calling the Papist spread, a spread that was looking at what's manifest in my life and what's mystery. Like what is sort of below the surface? What is something that I cannot master, and what is the manifest appearance of the same? Now I find myself toward the end of the week really struggling with that mystery and with thinking about the ways in which a 2-card spread can help me dive deeper into that which I cannot grasp. So let me illustrate what I've been meaning with the Papist spread. So, oops, a card just jumped. Okay, this is going to be the Manifest card, the card that just jumped. And now I'm going to pick the Mystery card. Now, I'm going to have to look at these cards. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Wands as what is manifest. And we have the Seven of Swords as what is mystery. Right. So, you know, this is something I understand. I understand fire, and I understand the will. I understand that principle of unity at the very source of the fire suit, at the very source of wands, that kind of sparking into action, the way that the world grabs us by the lapels and we respond. That fiery quality, that quality of being kindled into activity, that is what the will, what volition, what that kind of that vigor in our gut, that's what the Ace of Wands is all about, and that's what the wands are all about. That capacity that we have to meet the world, like the wand or the baton, striking the world, hitting the world, encountering the world. If you think about the 2 of Wands and the 3 of Wands, those such important cards that are about encounter, about embarkation, about walking through the portal. I understand that energy, the energy of spark and flame, the energy of meeting the world, of encounter. But here's the mystery underneath that. And this Seven of Swords is a card that I've drawn many times. And it's a card that's about reserve and restraint. So today, in fact, I found myself reaching out to a colleague, a sort of senior colleague, and I wanted to share with her some of my doubts and plans and hopes about my future. And so she asked me, how are you doing? I said, and she could tell that I wanted to talk about something, so she pulled me aside, and I had the opportunity to talk to her, and yet something kept me from speaking fully and frankly to her. Was I being prudent and strategic? Like, I don't want to play my cards. The Seven of Swords can really be in the deceitfulness that people sometimes read into this card, can sometimes just be, don't practice what my husband calls cardioslevosis, wearing your heart on your sleeve. Cardioslevosis. Don't practice that. You don't have to tell everything to everyone. You can refrain. You can restrain yourself, and that might be the wise thing. Keep your own counsel. Was that what's going on? As I look at the artwork in this card, there's something about wanting to carry something away, wanting to hold on to something, and that impulse to sneak away, to stealthily move out of view, that desire for hiddenness. After I left that colleague, I was like, why didn't I just tell her? What am I doing? Why am I holding back? Is it wise to hold back? Should I have held back more? Should I have not indicated that I was thinking about anything rough or untoward, or having any doubts about anything? Or should I have said much more? And I couldn't figure it out. So this sense of spark and volition, of what has always driven me in my career, in the work that I do in the world, in my engagement, in the ways I walk through the 2 of Wands or in the 3 of Wands portal into the future, that's what's manifest. That's the vibrant energy of my day. That's so much about where I am right now in my career. How do I spark forth? How do I move forward? And then there's this mystery, this thing that's sort of a little bit hidden to me. The Seven of Swords, which is in fact a card about keeping things hidden. And I have a question about this. So now I want to do another kind of 2-card spread. And I'm going to put these cards back in the deck, and I'm going to shuffle it again. And this time, this is kind of an elaboration spread in which I want to explore that mystery itself. So what I'm going to do, okay, what I'm going to do here is to draw my next two cards using a kind of significator draw, where I'm going to look for the Seven of Swords in the deck, and I'm going to pull the card above it and the card below it. And what I'm looking for in this reading is a way to unpack that mystery of the Seven of Swords. So, going back to the original idea of the Papist or the High Priestess, what is mystery insofar as it is the sacred, as it is the sacred. And to me, there are two aspects to the sacred that are relevant here. There is that which we fear, the unknown, as that which we fear. And there is that which we hold in awe, that which takes our breath away. So if you think about the encounter, say, with the divine, and what it is, say, in a biblical sense, for Moses to need to shield his eyes when he encounters the countenance of God on the top of Mount Sinai. Why does he need to shield his eyes? The radiance of God, right? We're in such awe before the sacred that we cannot see it. It's too bright. But then there's also the way that our very human selves are afraid of that which is too bright. So I'm going to pull now the first card. The card above the Seven of Swords is going to be what I think I reversed it before, but it's going to be the awe, and the card below it is the fear. I hope that makes sense. Let's see where we go. This is a brand new kind of spread, so Lord knows where it will lead us. I kind of like experimenting with you guys. That's the 6. And this, of course, is the most thrilling kind of video there is, where Esther is just flipping through the deck. There we go. So what was before? The Two of Swords. So that's the awe. And what was behind is the Three of Pentacles. Awe and fear. Yeah, awe and fear. This card, so balanced and poised in this way that is untenable. This bird the center cannot hold. This is impossible, to hold these opposites apart. And yet that is what the mystery asks, right? The mystery asks us to live in this state of division, to live in the gap, or in the sense of there being a gap, right? To live in the midst of dichotomy itself, in the uncertainty itself, in this openness where, the openness of not dividing the world, not doing that swordsy thing. This is what the poet John Keats called negative capability, that quality that he associated most with Shakespeare of being able to remain in uncertainty without the irritable, I'm butchering the quote here, but without the irritable striving after fact and reason. Negative capability. Okay. So the mystery, the thing that is so sort of blindingly brilliant, is this demand, this requirement in the face of the mystery for negative capability. And the fear, so interesting, is the Three of Pentacles. And I think this is the fear of, I can't do this alone. Like, I need community. This is not my work. And so even thinking about today, I'm in this place of uncertainty vis-a-vis next steps with my career. It's all the stuff that I wanted to talk about with this colleague. And I sort of started to broach it, but then held back. And not really understanding why I was holding back. That was the Seven of Swords, right? That was the mystery in my original 2-card spread. And now what I'm thinking is, okay, that uncertainty, I don't know, I don't have the answers, and I can't present a settled answerness to the world. I mean, I don't have the answers on the big scale, and I don't have the answers on the little scale. I'm not an authority. I don't know. I don't know. Negative capability. And because I don't know, I actually have to trust others. And shit, that's scary. So, in this elaboration of the mystery, this 2-card spread that's all about exploring the mystery of a papist 2-card spread, I'm realizing that that which kind of holds me in awe is the requirement to remain in uncertainty. And that which I'm afraid of is the need to rely upon others. That this great work is the work that we do, not just my work. And that is scary as shit, friends, because when you are doing stuff on your own, you may feel like you're exposed, but in some ways you're invulnerable. It's when we start to throw in our lot with comrades and colleagues. Ooh, that's when the raw, tender, achy, breaky stuff becomes front and center. Okay, that's a lot of words. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your practice. Toodaloo all.